Hi friends, welcome back to Shared TV. Before we start today's video, please don't forget to subscribe us. Let's talk about what's happening in the world today. Today's topic is Hamas. What is Hamas? The Gaza Strip is run by the Palestinian militant group Hamas. Hamas stands for Harakat al-Muqawama al-Islamiyah. Islamic resistance movement is what its name, and zeal is what it means in Arabic. When did Hamas start? As an organization, Hamas was mostly thought up by the Islamic leader Ahmed Yassin. It was created in 1987 as the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians was getting worse. It was made to fight against the Palestine Liberation Organization, which was led by Yasser Arafat and was a socialist and nationalist group. The PLO had been the official authority among Palestinians until this point. The people who started Hamas thought that the PLO wasn't looking out for the best interests of the Palestinian people and was giving into what they saw as Israel's plan to take over Palestinian land. What is the aim of Hamas? It is clear that what Hamas wants is the creation of a Palestinian state. There is some disagreement about the land where the state should be built, since it was first proposed that a Palestinian state should cover the West Bank, Gaza, and the area where Israel now lives. In fact, they were strongly against the Oslo peace agreements that the Palestine National Liberation Organization and the State of Israel made in 1993. So at first, they didn't want to be a part of the Palestinian national government, which was starting to get recognition around the world as the legitimate Palestinian government and the plan for the future Palestinian state, though not everywhere. What kind of group are they? It's not quite right to just call Hamas a terrorist group. The international community, through international organizations, has tried to define and create a clear classification of terrorism. But this classification is still not completely clear. Hamas is currently on the list of terrorist groups by the UN, the EU, the USA, Canada, Japan, Australia, Paraguay, the Organization of American States, and Egypt. Other countries like China, Russia, Brazil, Turkey, and Switzerland do not believe this. This strange behavior in terms of recognition makes more sense when we think about the last point. Although the Muslim Brotherhood is illegal in Egypt right now, it has been seen as a legal political force at different times and by different people. Is Hamas a political group? Hamas is right to see itself as a political force. In fact, it has asked the European Court of Justice to take it off the EU's list of terrorist groups, which was put there in 2001. The court suggested to the EU in 2014 that Hamas should be taken off the list, but in 2019 it was agreed that it should stay on the list so that its assets could continue to be frozen. Hamas has also been a political party in Palestine. This situation reached its peak in 2006 when they ran against the other big party in the Palestinian elections, Al-Fatah, which was more secular and won by a huge margin. The international world, on the other hand, did not recognize the election results. This led to another major internal crisis that has not been fully resolved yet and has put Al-Fatah in charge of the West Bank and Hamas in charge of Gaza. Even though Hamas agreed with the Palestinian National Authority again in 2017 that it was the rightful government in Gaza, they still have a lot of power in the area where more than 2 million people live in close quarters. The group has promised to destroy Israel and build an Islamic state in its place. Since Hamas took over Gaza in 2007, there have been several wars between the two sides. It has attacked Israel with thousands of rockets or let other terrorist groups attack with thousands of rockets. It has also carried out other deadly attacks. Because of this, Israel has struck Hamas many times from the air and sent troops into Gaza during 2 of the wars. Since 2007, it has blocked the Gaza Strip with Egypt for what it says are security reasons. Not only Israel, but also the US, the EU, the UK, and some other countries have called Hamas or its armed branch, the Izz-ad-Din al-Qassam Brigades, a terrorist organization. Iran helps the group by giving it money, weapons, and training. What is the Gaza Strip? Why is it important? The Gaza Strip is 25 miles long and 10 km wide. It is between Egypt, Israel, and the Mediterranean Sea. Egypt used to live in Gaza, but Israel took it over during the 1967 Middle East War, along with the West Bank and East Jerusalem. In 2005, Israel pulled its troops and about 7,000 people out of the area. There are about 2.3 million people living there, making it one of the densest cities in the world. Israeli airspace overlies Gaza and the coast of Gaza. It also tightly controls the flow of people and goods across its borders. In the same way, Egypt controls who comes and goes from its border with Gaza. The UN says that about 80% of the people living in Gaza depend on international aid, and every day about 1 million people count on food aid. Israel put a siege on Gaza after Hamas's unprecedented attack, cutting off its water, power, food, goods, and fuel. Gaza no longer has power because its only power plant ran out of fuel. There will likely be no water or sewage in Gaza if the power goes out. Generators will be the only way for people in Gaza to get power if they can find fuel for them. Let's look at what Palestine is. Before the middle of the 20th century, the West Bank and Gaza, which are now called the Palestinian areas, were all part of a land called Palestine. East Jerusalem and Israel were also part of Palestine. In the Bible, these were also the lands of Jewish countries. Many Jews still think of them as their ancestral home. People who don't agree with Israel's right to exist still call the land Palestine, even though Israel became a state in 1948. People who live in Palestine also call the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem by that name. For what reason did Hamas hit again? The militants' attack on October 7th was a surprise, and it happened at a time when relations between Israel and the Palestinians were very high. This year has been the deadliest ever for Palestinians living in the West Bank, which is controlled by Israel. This could have led Hamas to launch a spectacular attack against Israel. Hamas may have also wanted to win a big media battle against Israel in order to make itself more popular with regular Palestinians. It is thought that taking so many Israeli hostages is an attempt to put pressure on Israel to free some of the 4,500 Palestinians who are being held in Israeli prisons, which is a very sensitive problem for all Palestinians. Some people also think that Iran, which is Israel's main enemy, planned the attack, but Iran's supreme leader has denied that his country had anything to do with it. The chances of a historic peace deal between Israel and Saudi Arabia are also growing, but Iran and Hamas are strongly against it. This could fail if the Arab world gets very angry about Israel's military reaction to the Hamas attacks. What role does the U.S. play? The U.S. is Israel's closest ally, and each government has said that the U.S. is ironclad committed to Israel's safety. The U.S. said it would send an aircraft carrier, ships, and jets to the eastern Mediterranean in response to the Hamas attack. It also said it would send Israel more weapons and equipment. The move could be a warning to Hezbollah, a strong Lebanese militant group that is against Israel and supports Hamas, not to attack Israel. It could also be a sign of support for Israel. Along with people from about 16 countries, but not Israel, at least 14 U.S. citizens have been killed in the Hamas attack. Some of the dozens of people being held hostage by Hamas in Gaza are also from the United States. Let's see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe us.